this is how I do my binding. So these are 2.5 inches, and they're just long strips. The longer the better, so if you go the long way of the fabric, it's a little bit easier. You cut less of them. I just simply stitch them together by doing what most people do, I believe. You just kind of put them like this, and then you stitch from corner to corner, which I am going to do with all of these, and then you're going to cut that off and then open the seam up. So let's do that. Okay, so you go to your machine and you're going to put one strip here, one strip here. This would be the right side of the fabric, and this would be the right side of the fabric. So you're going to put them the right side fabric together. Then you're going to stitch from one corner where they meet to the other corner where they meet. And that will give you a nice clean seam. Okay, so once you have stitched from corner to corner, you'll have something like this. And when you open it, see, you will have a nice clean straight line. Of course, you're going to cut this material off here, so you just snip it right there, and then you can press your seam open like so. And then you will have a nice, strong, clean line. Okay, so now over to your ironing board. You're going to take your seams and you're going to press them open with your iron. And when I mean press open, I mean like so. Okay? You're just going to do that with every single one of them. Okay, for the clever part of this, again, this is the wrong side of your fabric, so this would be the right side of your fabric. And I'm obviously working with a solid, so it's a little bit different. Basically what I'm going to do is this is the very end, or beginning, however you want to see it. I'm going to fold it in like this. I'm going to iron this, and then I will fold it over and iron the rest down. Okay, so once you've ironed it, it will look something like this, folded at the top, and then ironed and folded all the way down. And you'll do that with the entire binding. So your entire binding should be folded like this. And you have the two raw edges together and a fold on this side. But this will be clean at the beginning. And your end, you won't have this, so. Okay, so now here's my quilted top. And I still have it pinned here because I obviously did not quilt anything along here. The binding's going to hold it in place. Typically you wouldn't have these in here, so ignore those. Okay, so here's the beginning of the binding. You have the folded here, so you don't have to start anywhere specific along the edge. You can just kind of pick a spot. That's the nice thing about this binding. So what you're going to do is you're going to take the folded edge and place it along your quilted edge, and then I'm going to open it and I'm going to stitch from here. I'm going to go down and then do a back stitch and then stitch just a couple inches down, and then again back stitch and then cut my thread. And then what I'm going to do is close this and then start here like you would a normal binding and just stitch. Okay, so now I have opened it up, I have stitched along the edge here, and now I'm going to close this and then start here and just stitch my binding on like you normally would, and coming to your corners and doing all of that as well. So I will show you once I get back around to this point. Okay. Okay, so this is the trick. So you stitch down and then you stop about 1/4 of an inch from the edge, and then you go diagonally up to the corner. And then when you fold it, obviously you would fold up and then fold back down, and you have your corner. The nice thing about this is that this stitch will give you that perfect fold, so your corner will always be perfect every time. And then as usual, you'll start from this point here and just continue down. Okay, so now I am back at the beginning, and here you see the binding that I've already stitched. Okay, so I still have all my extra binding here, so what I'm going to do is actually see where that first stitch started, and I'm going to cut probably about here at an angle so that you're not sewing directly straight across on a heavy seam. So just snip diagonally somewhere within this area. Okay, so now I have cut it, and you can see it's like maybe half an inch or so. Simply what I do is, you can see I stopped about 3 or 4 inches before, and I'm just going to open this seam and slide this guy right in here and seam it back up. Then all you want to do is just continue stitching your binding like you normally would all the way down until this point. And it's okay if this binding sticks out a little bit, because this is the side that you're going to eventually fold and you won't see it anyways. If you do end up stitching and it kind of sits out really far, again, don't worry, you can just snip that right off. Okay. Alright, and this is the finished product. So you can see it's tucked in there and just stitched all nicely in. And when you fold it over to the back, you will have a very minimal seam. You really won't even see much of that at all. If you feel the need, you can always just do a few invisible stitches right in there and just kind of hold it together if you want. But I've never had any issues with it falling apart, so but there you go. Yeah, pretty simple. It's a nice way to just finish your binding without having to do any of that silly measuring that everybody else does. So I just find this one really quick, easy, and it still looks great too, because you still have a finished edged, and looks great. So there you go. There it is. All done. Now you just need to fold it over and stitch it on the back.